This is going to be a little bit deeper. This is about reaching those parents that are really hard, those what's known as the reticent parents, is out of your chapter 8. And first of all, let's look at what a reticent parent is and what that term means. And let's go out to Webster's dictionary. And Webster defines it as this. Number one, inclined to be silent or uncommunicative in speech. They're reserved. So they're not willing to communicate with you and work with you. Number two, restrained in expression, presentation, or appearance. Okay, so they're restrained. They're just really reluctant. So let's go back to our textbook and we'll talk about that a little bit. Parents who do not fit into that typical parent role may be encouraged by the school to take an active role. Are schools willing to open up to that group of parents who need help the most, like low income or minority families? The rest are fun. The rest are easy. The rest are present. They're ever present. This is the group that's absent. These are the groups that are reluctant. And these are the groups that will challenge you. We've created a lot of things in this course about working with the families. But we've yet to really do something that works in this area because these were not deterred. These are not encouraged enough by some of the things. So now is when you really get to be involved with parent involvement. I said to you before, you really haven't worked with parents until you've dealt with conflict. Unfortunately, some of the conflicts you'll have will be more with these families. Let's read over here. Which comes first, the parent's involvement in the child's success or the alienation, or the lack of support of the parent, which results in the parental support of the school? Parents who feel good about themselves and feel validated by the school participate. This stipulation is especially true for low-income and minority parents. And so let's see how we can do that. Let's look at some of these things in Chapter 8 now. Parent involvement programs and empowerment. Has a little picture here, but I want to page ahead another page and look at another page here about this involvement. Talks about the personality. You're going to need to read all this because I'm going to ask you about this. Here's the steps that I want you to be particularly involved with. These necessary communication supports. And there are a number of them listed here. First of all, families and parents might be under a lot of stress. Number two, many hard-to-reach parents feel out of their element, whether coming to school or receiving home visitors, okay, because they're different. And again, what are you going to do about that? It explains that. Three, the parents do not realize their importance in the child's education. They don't know that that's going to be a key to them. That's not obvious to them. And many teachers do not know the parents' interests, strengths, and abilities. Why? Because of reticence. They're not involved with you. They're not communicating. They're not reaching out. Okay? Or reaching out or reaching in, I should say. They're not coming in to see you. So here it takes you through some of those things that can be done for those. Okay? So here's your challenge. Here's your question for here. What are you going to do to reach out? After reading this section, what are you going to do more specifically? Don't assume they don't care. Don't assume they don't know. Don't insult their intelligence. How are you going to genuinely reach out and bring them in and get them involved in their kids' learning? Because statistically, their children are the ones that are going to have the most difficulty learning. Their children have the most difficulty in school. And we still know from the research the biggest key component in those kids' learning is you, the teacher. And you know from our studies this semester, this term, that comes with your relationship and connection and encouragement of that parent involvement. So in this, how are you going to bring in and how are you going to connect to and encourage these reticent parents after reading this section?